What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is I, Randy, with RTS Mobile Gaming, bringing you another Sea of Conquest Pirate War video today. In today's video, we are about 4.5 days away from entering Season 3, and I've decided to do an overall philosophy update on the gem specialization tree. If you aren't already aware, in Season 2 and onwards, you unlock the gem specialization tree. You can access that by clicking on the little Season 2 icon on the top of your map. Boom, that is going to take you to your seasonal progress bar. It's going to show you your flame level. The flame level is time gated behind different Grand Odyssey milestones, which are going to determine how many gems you can equip at one time. Okay, all the way throughout the season, once you have all the milestones opened up to 130 flame level, you are going to be able to equip a total of 14 gems. That is 12 individually colored gems and 2 multicolored gems. Okay, they're all very valuable. Let's talk about the philosophy behind them. I'm going to keep this video as short as I can, so if you get to the video and you like it, please like and subscribe. I don't want to give you another half-hour rant. We'll keep this under 5 or 6 minutes if possible. Here we go. Okay, so the things that you need to think about when you're creating your optimization. First off, the red gems can form with attack, impact, crit rate, or crit damage. The stats that you pick are going to be very dependent on the build you're running. Everybody has a different build. Everybody's gem setups will be a little bit different, okay? How do you know which gem setups are right for you? Well, I'll give you a hint. First off, impact is really valuable, especially if your main damage ships are like my artillery ship here, which is currently using a artillery set. The artillery set does not have 15% impact on the bonuses, such as the Blade of Freedom set. So if you're using a specific non-Blade of Freedom ship set for your attack damage ships, you probably want to equip at least 1 impact gem. Why, Randy, do you ask? Well, good question. If you look at me, I'm currently running with almost 4,000 armor on this ship, and I only have 2,800 impact, and that is including an impact gem. Therefore, if I was attacking myself, I would be dealing dramatically reduced damage because I have incredibly high armor. If any of if you are fighting against any of the other RTS mobile viewers, they've probably seen my last 2 or 3 videos where I really am pushing high armor and critical strike resistance builds. Okay, as you can see on my critical strike resistance figurehead here and my high armor sovereign set on my fearless princess. That is the philosophy that I'm pushing right now because it's incredibly tanky and still does good damage. But even with the 9.5% impact bonus gem, my impact is still dramatically lower than my armor. Therefore, I want to be able to have good enough impact to not deal incredibly reduced damage to the enemies, okay? So that is something to think about. If you're using specific ship sets instead of Blade of Freedom, you need to put at least 1 impact gem in, okay? Next, if you're going to pick your other red gems, it's important that you understand that if you're fighting against people who have incredibly high crit resistance, you're either going to do 2 things. One, you're either going to put on a critical strike trinket, a critical strike rate trinket, such as the Demise Proclamation that I have on my Ophelia, okay? Or you're going to agree that you're probably not going to deal a lot of critical strikes or critical strike damage, and you're going to go ahead and build for attack. Okay, which is going to give you higher damage output all the time versus higher damage output only when you crit. Okay, so there is a 2-part philosophy here. You're either going to stack critical strike rate and critical strike damage, or you're going to focus on attack and get higher average damage because you're not planning on getting a lot of crits, okay? And that is really a personal choice you have to make based on the gear you have for your ships and based on the trinkets you have for your heroes. If you don't have a critical strike rate figurehead and you don't have critical strike rate trinkets and you're fighting opponents that have 40, 50, 60% critical strike rate, you may decide to focus on impact instead, which is not a bad decision. I've been doing it for the past few days. I just switched back to critical strike damage today just to enjoy those high crits, but I have been running with 2 impact and 2 attack gems for the past 3 days. It is a great philosophy, okay? So, to that point, if you are running high critical strike chance, okay, you're over 50 to 60% or more on your 1 or 2 main damage ships, focus on critical strike damage gems because they are going to give you more value, okay? And essentially the rule of thumb is if your critical strike damage is not more than double your critical strike rate, you probably want to put more points in critical strike damage, with the one asterisk there that you need to have enough critical strike rate to overcome enemy crit resistance. So it's not just a 50-100 rule, right? It's probably closer to a 60-65-100 rule before you need to start stacking. Okay, next, let's talk about the green gems. This is another key philosophy to think about, okay? First off, the green gems are going to give you armor, they're going to give you HP, they're going to give you critical strike resistance, okay? They're going to give you all kinds of great stats, and you want to really make sure that you plan correctly on these. Okay, I'm trying to find the armor. Actually, I have a bunch equipped, sorry. Okay, so between those couple stats, what are you going to run? Great question. It's not going to do you a lot of good to run one critical strike resistance gem. If you're going to run critical strike resistance gems, you want to focus critical strike resistance gems. Then same thing with armor, same thing with HP. It depends on which stat you're focusing with your other gear, because all three of these stats are going to be they're going to help you snowball a certain build. So all four of my gems I'm currently running are armor. However, if you don't have high armor sales or high armor builds, maybe you're going to run HP instead, which is also a valid option. You may decide to run 2 armor and 2 HP. It's up to you. I will again repeat, if you decide to run with crit resistance, you should put 4 crit resistance gems in. That way you're getting maximum value and you're actually incredibly reducing enemy critical strike chance to hit you, okay? So that's something to think about, and the ship sets that you're using are going to really help you determine what gems. So I'm using Sovereign set on 3 of my ships right now, including my main damage dealer. Therefore, I'm already getting an armor bonus on this ship of 15%. I'm also getting an HP bonus on this ship. However, since I'm not running any Constitution heroes, my Constitution is rock bottom. Therefore, the HP on this ship is not going to be very high. So I'm not going to put an HP multiplier on a ship where I don't have high Constitution heroes. Therefore, I'm focusing armor gems, okay? And that is a really key part of my build right now. All right. Into the other colored gems here, we have yellow colored gems. These are really the ones that everybody wants to know about. These are the gems that I see a lot of people make the most mistakes in, because they put in gems that they really don't need. And it's really important that you understand the yellow gems you put in will define your build, okay? These other gems, right, the red and the green are going to really help your build. They're going to min-max your build, but the yellow gems will make or break your build if you're running the wrong gems. Absolutely must know this, okay? First off, you can put in a yellow gem for every type of damage in the game except for basic damage. So that means your burning, your drowning, your artillery, all those different damage types, right? Cutthroat, strategic, they can all be applied through the yellow gems. You need to take a look and make sure that the 1 to 2 damage ships that you are focusing on are the ones that you put in the yellow gems for, okay? For example, yes, I happen to have a, in this particular build I'm running today, I happen to have a very strong bones and, oh, they renamed Kojo Holo. Wow, they renamed him. That is so interesting. They just did a patch today, and I guess they renamed this dude. Did they drop his damage? No, he's good. Okay. They renamed him. Anyways, Kojo Holo has now been renamed. So you have Bones, Kojo, and Cordelia on this particular build I'm running. It has very high attack percentage, and in fact, it looks like my attack percentage dropped a little bit, so maybe they changed something in the patch. But I am not focusing on cutthroat damage. This particular build is actually focusing on Cordelia and healing with Bones' Rage Generation. Therefore, I am not going to be running cutthroat damage gems. Instead, I am running 2 different damage gems. I'm running Burning and Artillery, because Burning is going to be my top damage dealer for this season, and Artillery is going to be a great complement, okay? So don't put damage gems in for ships that aren't your main 1 to 2 damage dealers. I have to stress that. And I never like putting all my eggs in one basket, because you never know when one of your ships is going to drop. Therefore, I spread my damage gems between my 2 top damage ships. So currently, my number 1 damage ship is Burning. My number 2 damage ship, and I'll just pull up a report from yesterday just to show you. This is a great fight, by the way. I died, but I killed a ton of enemy level 31s and 33s and stuff. Anyways, in this fight, you can see here, my Burning ship has over 100 million damage dealt, dude. Over 100. In fact, almost 120 million damage dealt. The next highest damage ship is my Artillery ship. So I may even benefit by putting 3 gems in Burning just to dramatically increase the damage here, you know, even more. It's a multiplier, right? You're multiplying all your damage dealt by that additional amount. It's an additive multiplier. It's added into some of your other bonuses, but overall it is a multiplying variable. So it's always good to have more damage on the ships that do the most damage, okay? Clearly, Artillery here I think this actually died partway through the fight, which is why his damage is so low. However, I will say that the artillery ship is fantastic, and I really love it. Okay, let me see if I can find another report that shows better balance on the damage. That's a little bit better balance on the damage. Artillery 24 million, burning 60 million. So again, focus on the ships that do the most damage for your gem specialization. Okay, if I put bonuses in cutthroat, sure, I'll do more cutthroat damage, but I'm going to do dramatically less burning damage. Okay, and lastly, the color gems. These are only available from the gang raids. You're not going to unlock the gang raids until you're about halfway through season 2. There is no real optimization to talk about here. These gems only affect the gang raids. They don't affect your PvP. They don't give you any bonus stats. They're pretty useless outside of the actual squad raids. And there's only 2 types of gems, so eventually you're going to have them both equipped. You can decide between a gem that reduces the damage you take in the raids, or the gang raids and squad raids, or a gem that boosts the damage you deal, based on how many of your ships are alive. And that's it. So, if you guys have liked this build, this summary video on gems, okay, this total gem guide, please like and subscribe. I kept it as short as I can. Randy, out.